Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Q&A session for this rerun of the Dog Anxiety Summit. I'm Dr. Edward, the Healing Vet. I'm your host today, and I'm looking forward to having a really interesting conversation and talking through, answering all your questions, discussing what you've learned on day 2. You've just had day 1 yesterday, which you had a talk from me, Dr. Edward, about anxiety simply arousal with nowhere to go. You had Dr. Ava Frick with getting to the why of anxiety, Dr. Christina Chambreau with preventing and resolving anxiety with a more energy healing type approach, Dr. Janet Rock, separation anxiety and essential oils, and Maria Vasquez with everything is energy. The energetic kind of reasons for anxiety in animals, and Laurie Hughes, sensory integration disorders and anxiety in dogs. And day 2, speakers were Dr. Jean Coffey, which is talking about flower essences, which I find to be a wonderful thing to use to help anxious animals as part of my treatment plans. Lisa Spector, music for anxiety, creating a sound safe home for your dogs. And certainly the sound, the auditory environment in your home has a really big impact on your dog's well-being. Dr. Jeff Feynman, vitality and balance system, talking about a pragmatic approach and being able to track what's going on with your animals using the BEAM, B-E-A-M process of measurement. Dr. Cara Gubbins, how animal communication can and can't help dogs with anxiety. Animal communication can be another very, very useful way to gather information, to understand better what's going on with your anxious pets and then to be able to help them better. Excuse me. And Dr. Barry Sands talked about creating harmony and coherence within yourself to support your anxious pets. And in that interview, there was biofield physiology, trans-species energetic interactions, and how to create harmony and coherence in your being. We had Jed Davis, also reducing anxiety and objective approach to a stress-free pet, which was a bonus session. So then, we need you to ask questions because that's what this is all about. So please, firstly, say hi. I'd love to hear where you're from, what animals you have with you. Let me know if you do have an anxious animal, a little bit about them in the chat, because I'll feel all kind of lonely here if we don't have some people who are going to say hi. But please say hi for the first step. Just check in. Let me know where you are, what pets you have, and why you're here. We've got one question there, but we need lots more. So start typing away, saying hi, loading up your questions so that I can then share all my information with you and help you out as much as I can. Hi to Patty from Canada. Give you a wave. Let me know what animals you have too. I'm always interested to know what kinds of animals and the names of your animals. But I will answer a question and then I'll come back to saying hi to everyone and answering any more questions. So Destin says, hello, I had a question from a training standpoint. For a dog that shuts down during training, how can we implement these practices into training plans to help those that are shut down? So dogs that shut down, that is usually a partial freeze type response. Those sometimes it can be due to boredom and not enjoying the actual activities that you're doing in training. So that can be another thing to take into consideration. Some dogs like doing certain things and don't like doing other things. And if you, the human, decide that you want to do a thing that your dog's like, this is no fun, I don't like this particular activity, then you can get some shutdown as that as well. But if this is an anxiety-based shutdown type thing with a freeze response, how can we help these dogs unfreeze and come out and be their full selves and relax and be happy and regulated in a training situation. Firstly, make sure that you're doing positive reinforcement training and that you're not using punishment, painful, uncomfortable, fearful type stimuluses in your training, and particularly things like electric shock collars or harsh check collars, or even harsh shouting and telling dogs off and stuff like that. The more that you move to understanding how to use positive reinforcement with your dogs, the more they're going to be going, oh, this is fun. This is lovely. We enjoy this. We want to do this. So really do everything that you can to make training a joyful, enjoyable, wonderful experience for your dogs. Think about the context of where and when you're doing training, how many other people and animals there are there. You might need to spend quite some time habituating an anxious dog to this new environment and new people and new dogs, and help them have plenty of space and time to regulate and habituate to what's going on. So, you might need to be on the outskirts or some distance away from all the other animals for a period of time. It might be days, might be weeks, depends on the particular dog, depends on their personality, their history, how severe any of these shutdown or freeze responses are. And personally, I use a lot of relaxing touch because it actively takes the nervous system and the physiology from this kind of aroused state, which some dogs go into a freeze with this when they get over here into this anxious kind of thing. And I find that relaxing touch often unfreezes animals. And a lot of dogs will freeze when they go to the vet. I had a Doberman come to see me a couple of years ago who I could see went into a freeze. So I helped them unfreeze. And then when I went to feel in the lower back, they tried to bite me, and the human was absolutely horrified. The dog's never done that before. And I said, it's okay. It's just communicating that they're afraid that I'm going to hurt them. Hi to Joyce from Albany in Canada. Hi to Barb from Ontario in Canada. Who else is here? Please do just take a moment to check in and say hello and let me know who you are and where you are and what animals you have. I'd really love to hear you. So we've got Joyce has got a question. I have a 12-year-old rat terrier who I have to crate when I leave the house so he doesn't chew through everything. I've heard that rat terriers are an anxiety-prone breed. Anything else that I can do? Can you just let me know in the chat, how does he respond to being in the crate? Are they happy and peaceful and relaxed in the crate? What can you do? You can, well, it's like with any form of anxiety. First thing you have to do is have a look at the whole life story of the animal and get into the whole, what are the triggers? What are the things that make your dog feel anxious? Does your dog get anxious before when you get prepared to go? I mean, this is a separation anxiety type thing, most likely. Though it could also be a boredom thing, and some dogs just chew up stuff because they're bored and they need more enrichment and something to keep them occupied. You can explore all the different kinds of things that you've learned about in this summit in terms of flower essences and essential oils and relaxing touch and homeopathy and energy healing and diet and supplements and all these things. There's so many different things that you can use to help with all of that. He doesn't particularly like the crate, but he will go in and he doesn't destroy his bed in the crate and stuff like that, I'm presuming. So that's a good strategy. And if you've got a dog like that who's destructive when out of the crate, but they're relatively calm and relaxed and are able to stay regulated in the crate, without trying to chew their way out of the crate. And some animals, if you crate them, some separation anxiety animals, if they being in the crate can actually escalate and worsen their anxiety, and they may break teeth trying to break their way out of the crate, or they might destroy their bed and things like that. But if you got a crate training, I think is something that, if you do it the right way, can be really helpful for containing and managing dogs with anxiety. So it's Barb said, how do we balance relaxing something? So could you redo that comment, Barb? I can't understand what you mean in that one. But with your little dog with separation anxiety, you really want to think about how you can help him learn how to be more independent in himself. Often these dogs that have really strong separation anxiety, I find, are very dependent on their humans in terms of close proximity to the humans or touch from the humans to regulate themselves. It's almost like they need the human as a drug to help them relax. So my focus when I'm working one-on-one with people, and if you want to work one-on-one with me, you can drop into thehealingvet.com and book a discovery call and learn about how to do that. But I want to help people get some independence, emotional independence going on with their animals, healthier boundaries, and that often can help quite a lot too. Okay, who's next? We've got Cynthia. And we need some more questions getting lined up there too. So if you could all be starting to ask some more questions, that'd be really lovely. So Cynthia says, hi. Now, Cynthia and Freya, got Freya, my traumatized GSD, are here in Maryland. I had some great events with her today, including a successful vet visit after a fail yesterday. Better vet environment. Awesome. I'm glad to hear that you're getting some progress with your journey with your dog. And when it comes to vets and veterinary anxiety, shopping around to different vet clinics can make a huge difference, particularly if you have an anxious dog. If you can find a vet near enough to you that you can get to them easily, that either a vet in that clinic or the vet hospital itself is certified for the fear-free certification. Because if you go to a fear-free certified vet or fear-free certified veterinary hospital, they will be much, much better equipped to be able to read your dog in terms of anxiety and to implement measures to help your dog have the calmest, most comfortable experience possible. And with animals that have strong fear and anxiety about going to and being at the veterinary clinic, I often will use situational medications like gabapentin or trazodone or the Valium type family of medications, so that when the vet animal comes into the vet, they are chemically relaxed. And that means that it's safer for them, it's safer for the vet, and you're not reinforcing and making that veterinary anxiety worse over time. Cynthia says, you mentioned a healing response in one of your comments today with Dr. Jean Hoffby. Can you talk about this in more detail? So when you're working with a being, an animal, a pet that has any kind of imbalance in their system, in their consciousness, and anxiety is an imbalance. It's not healthy, right? There's patterns of distress and imbalance going on there that are out of whack. So a healing response can be understood in a number of ways. So whenever we are doing any kind of intervention with our animals, then we hope that in response to that impact of the intervention, whatever it might be, whether it's relaxing touch or diet changes or supplements or could be lots and lots of different things, we're hoping to see your animal then shift to a noticeably improved place. However, sometimes when you perturb the system with an intervention, a medication, a supplement, a new way of training, relaxing touch, all of these different things, it can seem like things are getting worse before they get better. And that can be another kind of healing response, is that the intervention kind of disrupts the system and it seems to get worse, but then it comes into a greater balance after this. So that is another way that we can think of as we've got a question from Destin. Can you go into detail about healing touch? How do you pet and massage the dog? So this is something that you will learn if you do the course that's available as a follow-up for this summit, which is all about creating and implementing a holistic anxiety treatment plan for your pets. And I show you in detail how to do the relaxing touch. We're not going to be doing that in detail here today on this Q&A call. It's not a teaching call to teach you techniques. It's more a call where I'm here to answer all of your questions. But if you want to learn more about the details of how, and the other thing about this is we're on StreamYard and I can see you and your dogs and I can't give you feedback about how you're actually doing it. So I can't effectively teach you how to do the relaxing touch in this particular kind of digital online format. But if you want to learn more, there is a course which Gindi will pop the links in for you to be able to learn how to do that in the chat and on the screen. You can check that out, and it's a very comprehensive course that will help you make a big difference for your beautiful animals. And you can also work one-on-one with me and I can coach you through it if you want to. You can find me at thehealingvet.com for that. Barb's got a really good question here. How do we balance relaxing touch with not praising the pet's anxiety if we're in an unexpected, stressful situation we cannot remove ourselves from? So there is this kind of myth, this idea that if you comfort your pet when you're anxious, that you're reinforcing their anxiety. Nothing could be further from the truth, okay? Comforting your pet when they're anxious is never going to be anything but the best thing that you can do. If you comfort your pets when they're triggered, when they're in this fearful, aroused, anxious state, gently comforting your pets is beneficial. So I would always use relaxing touch anytime I can see any signs that my pet is triggered into anxiety, distress, discomfort, because then that touch is going to be moving the physical body into a relaxed state. Now, often when you do relaxing touch in that particular context, you'll see the animal will relax, and then the mind go, oh, I don't think I can relax this. I'm worried about all these things that are scary. But the longer you do the relaxing touch, the longer and deeper the periods of relaxation are. And if you then use relaxing touch consistently over time, over days and weeks and months, then your pet experiences body level relaxation at the same time that they're experiencing the trigger. And they will, over time, learn, oh, well, I'm feeling relaxed at the same time that the thing that I thought was scary was going on. And over time, often these animals will learn that, wow, the thing is actually not scary and I can be relaxed and regulated and calm in the face of the thing. So it's a really, really, it is not a bad idea ever to use relaxing touch when your animal is experiencing anxiety and distress is the key point I'm trying to get across here. Cynthia says, also bark flower essences seem to come in human and pet formulations. Can you use the human formulation for the pet? You absolutely can, and you could use the pet formulation for the human. It's really just a rebranding thing. They're all the same energetic remedy, and it doesn't matter one way or the other, whether it's a human or a pet preparation. It'll be equally effective for any living being. Okay, April's K911 Academy. Thank you for your question, and I'd like all the rest of you who are here on the call to start stacking up any more questions you have, because I love answering your questions, and it's going to get very boring very quickly if there are no questions to going on. So there's lots of techniques to calm dogs at the moment, which the hash pup tapping does in the moment or shortly thereafter. Which was the closest today that actually transmute those anxieties forever? Now, that's a really interesting question, and I will do my best to give you a nice comprehensive answer about it. Okay, so pup tapping is an offshoot of EFT, and it will help your dog when you have trauma. So EFT is a process of shifting energy that in humans and in dogs. You can do the process using the human as a surrogate for the dog. That may either just help in the moment, and sometimes it can shift deeper patterns that are contributing to the whole thing, that is the whole energy pattern, the deeper thing that is affecting everyone. Now, the thing about anxiety is that it is a complex, multifactorial disease that builds up in layers and layers and layers and layers over time and time and time. There's all these events that cause this, that, and the other. And by the time you get obvious symptomatic anxiety, there's a whole complex kind of tangle or history of energy and worries and memories and physiological responses and triggers that are part of what the animal is experiencing and what you're seeing in your animal. So my experience is generally that to transmute and really get to the root cause of anxiety and get really profound healing, that means that the animal moves out the other side and the anxiety is either really, really significantly reduced or perhaps completely gone. It takes time, and it takes often a need to be using a range of different things over a long period of time. And the most important thing that I use is relaxing touch, because relaxing touch really is retraining the whole system how to relax and how to self-regulate in the face of the triggers that cause anxiety. So that's, in my experience, with over a long time of working with a lot of anxious animals, I really strongly believe that relaxing touch is one of the things that really gets to the root cause of helping anxious animals in a way that other things don't so much. Energy healing, though, too, can be another modality or intervention that can be very, very powerful when it comes to helping these kinds of animals, because energy healing also can get into the underlying energy patterns or underlying conditions in the energy systems that affect the animals and cause the anxiety. Okay, who's next? Paddy Kelly says, I have a German Shepherd. Is it better to start with a calming herb essence or oil to be able to go to different places? She whines and howls when we go anywhere other than our home. So once again, you're probably going to need to use a range of different things to get the best possible outcomes when it comes to teaching your German Shepherd how to be relaxed and calm when you go out in the wild. into the world, into the big scary world. And calming herbs are one thing that may be helpful. So ashwagandha and other kinds of herbs that you can use could be one thing. Rescue remedy is one flower bark essence that may be helpful for your dog, or you might want to tune in and use specific bark remedies that are a closer match to your individual dog's personality and circumstances. And you might try some lavender as well. And then you might integrate relaxing touch in, and you might be making changes at home to, perhaps your dog also gets super triggered by everyone walking past. So you might put up a visual barrier so they can't see everyone walking past, and they're not continually taking their nervous system over here. And you might be spending a whole lot of time in life working on getting your dog into deeper and deeper, more solid green zone relaxation. So try things, see how your dog responds. If they respond well, then keep using that, and then maybe try some other things to see if you can add another layer in that helps a bit more. I hope that answers your question, Patty. From the Facebook group, what do you think about using a grounding mat for anxious dogs? They make them for humans who don't get outside and put their feet in the grass. So these grounding mats and sheets and things that are available for humans can be very helpful, particularly for people who live a very urban life and don't get a lot of contact with grass and earth, because we and our dogs are electromagnetic beings, and when we have bare feet on the earth, it does interesting and beautiful things to our energy system. So it's a thing that can make a difference. And if you have a dog that's anxious and you live in a very urban lifestyle and they only get to walk on cement and concrete and don't get a lot of time on grass in parks and really getting that earth connection, then a grounding mat is another thing that you could definitely bring into a holistic anxiety treatment plan to help the overall system be more present, more coherent, more grounded. From the Facebook group, another question from the Facebook group. A topic that is much debated, or so it seems to me, is, do dogs remember specific past trauma and they get triggered? Are they triggered like people are by an occurrence that throws them back into traumatized behavior or not? Or they truly live in the moment and don't know why they are anxious in certain situations? Look, it's really clear to me that our pets remember things, that they have a long, strong memory of the past, and it's been scientifically proven that puppies remember people that they've met and known when they were puppies years and years and years later, and they obviously recognize and know them. So it makes sense to me that, yeah, if a dog's had some kind of traumatic event in the past, and suddenly there are sounds and smells and circumstances and situations that are very similar to what happened just before that traumatic event in the past, absolutely your dog is going to be going, whoop, bad things are about to happen. Bad things are about to go down. I'm worried. So I absolutely believe that it's not dissimilar to how people are triggered by memories of past events. And, a dog's not silly. A dog will be able to see that, I was out on a walk and a big white dog bashed me up 3 years ago, and then I see a big white dog. Well, that dog's going to be like, oh, there's a big white dog. Big white dogs are dangerous. I absolutely believe that is true. Cynthia says, I really like the breathing technique routine just suggested by Dr. Barry Sands. I incorporated this with a breath session for my dog. Great connection. Thoughts on dog breathing exercises? Well, we can't really get our dogs to do breathing exercises, but anytime humans are practicing breathing exercises, then it has beautiful, beautiful effects on getting us more relaxed, getting us more present and connected with our bodies, getting us into a state of greater coherence of consciousness. And our animals will respond strongly to this. So anytime the human is more coherent and more relaxed, and anytime the human can be more strongly anchored into a strong state of green zone relaxation and coherence, then your dogs are going to come into alignment with that to some extent. So the more that you can work with yourself with breathing, and another simple breathing exercise is box breathing, where you breathe in for the count of 3 or 4. So you breathe in over a count of 4, you hold your breath for a count of 4, you breathe out slowly for a count of 4, and while you hold that empty breath for a count of 3 or 4, and you just keep cycling through that. That's a really simple breathing pattern, which can be really good. And anytime you're out in the wild and your dog gets anxious, often the humans tend to get anxious about the dogs getting anxious, and then the dog says, my humans are anxious, I better get anxious too. So anytime you feel yourself get stressed or tense around anything going on with your anxious dogs, if you can do a little bit of conscious breathing exercises and help you relax, then that'll help your dog. Cynthia says, dog mindfulness. You can see with the dogs changes in their breathing with their stress, but I was saying you can't really get them to do box breathing or relaxing things. Okay. What other questions have we got for all you people out there? I'd love to hear more questions from you. We've still got another good 20, 25 minutes where you get to pick my brains for free, which is kind of cool. If you would like to, if you've got an animal that is more complex, that you need a greater kind of level of help and assistance, then I can offer in a Q&A session like that. You can also you can get my book, my new book, Find and Heal Your Pet's Silent Pain, which is you can get a digital version on Amazon. And if you want to learn about whole energy body balance, the whole modality of bodywork and energy healing that can help your anxious pets, you can book a discovery call to learn more about that. Or if you want to have a holistic veterinary consultation with me, you can do that too. And Gindley will pop those things in the chat. So, questions. Who's got a question for me out there? The question there, how long do we have to watch the summit? So I'm already 2 days behind. Gindley will be able to answer that question for you. But we need more questions about you and your anxious pets. Doesn't matter how small a question. Often the things that you think are really a silly question or not important are actually very, very, very helpful. And the sillier the question is, usually the more important it is you ask it so I can answer it, because there's often a whole lot of value in that. Have I heard of whole tones? Which is a frequently, I have not heard of that, but using sound can be an incredibly good way to help animals, and just having a quick look at what whole tones are. So they're solfeggio frequencies, which are particular frequencies that are often used in sound healing. Sound healing, there's a whole lot of different kinds of beautiful frequencies of sound that can be very, very helpful for supporting greater coherence, greater relaxation, greater resilience, and all that sort of thing in your beautiful animals. So I am waiting here for you to ask me some questions. So please, if you've got any questions at all, or anything at all, please pop into the chat and ask away, because it's going to get kind of boring pretty quickly if I don't have questions to answer for you. And Gindi has just said in the chat, the videos, presentations, each day will be available for 48 hours before they're for your to watch for free. But you can get the premium pass, and then you'll get lifetime access and be able to go back and review and listen to them as many times as you want to, anytime you want to. Can you expand on the go with the flow discussion? So going with the flow, another way to think of this is really finding out what works. Because when you are doing what works and what is a good fit for your dogs, and every anxious dog is completely unique. Every anxious dog has a very different needs, different triggers, different responses to treatments, all of those kinds of things. So going with the flow for me is a process of continual, gentle, curious experimentation, trying things. We'll try this and see what happens. If it has a beneficial effect, then we'll try variations of that thing to see if we can make it even more beneficial. And going with the flow for me is really about listening, being very aware of what's going on and the situations and the circumstances. So, for instance, if I was walking a reactive dog, I'd have a really gentle, relaxed, but very alert awareness of the environment and what's incoming. And I would want to be able to flow somewhere else if something incoming is going to make things worse. So hopefully that makes a bit of sense of what I'm saying, Cynthia. But you can, if you want me to go into more specifics and you have more specific question about that, please do ask. April Canine 11 Academy's got a good question there. I want to know if anyone has seen a difference in the dog's anxieties with the new 5G meters that are putting in our homes. So animals and humans, EMFs, man-made EMF radiations, which smart meters, smartphones, Wi-Fi, mobile phone networks, all these kinds of things definitely affect human and animal consciousness, physiology, and well-being in not very good ways. And there is a woman who has done a PhD recently that shows really clear evidence that Wi-Fi affects humans' sleep adversely. I think it's the first of that kind of real evidence to show that. Now, personally, I am electrosensitive. I find that EMFs affect my mood and my physiology in not very good ways. So I would be not surprised. I don't have any particular stories, but I would not be at all surprised if you got 5G and these wireless meters and stuff like that. I would not be at all surprised if we saw the animals have exacerbations in a range of things, including anxiety. And there are some technologies that you can use to harmonize. I'll just put a link in the chat that Gindi can pop in. But I use these things from the Teslas.com that I found. I've tried a range of different technologies for harmonizing harmful EMFs, and this is by far the most effective one that I have found so far. And then we've got a question from Barb. Barb, you get a gold star for asking lots of questions. Thank you. Barb says, is layering the techniques that work for our dog the best prevention to future anxiety or preventing anxiety altogether? I think the more things you do that support a healthy, happy, balanced, relaxed body, mind, emotions, gut, the less likely that your dog is going to develop anxiety down the track. The more you do really good socialization and use relaxing touch as an everyday medicine from when you get your little puppy right through life, the more resilient and they're going to be. And even if there is a big traumatic event that might trigger anxiety ongoing, and a single event can take a healthy dog and turn them into an anxious dog, depending on the dog, the circumstances and situation that we're talking about. But I strongly, strongly believe that the more we work with relaxing touch and healthy diet and appropriate supplements and positive reinforcement training and resilience and independence and all these things, then the less likely it is that even if they do have a major traumatic event, the harm is going to be far less than if we don't do all those kinds of things. And preventing anxiety altogether, well, we're never going to prevent anxiety altogether, because anxiety is a very, very powerful, amazing, healthy, evolutionary thing that is also important for keeping us and our pets safe. So the anxiety response is also something that we're never going to be able to get rid of completely. The thing is, can we get to a point where dogs have a little bit of healthy anxiety and then they regulate quickly back into the green zone and they're cool and they don't get stuck over here, and they don't take forever to get back to being relaxed and healthy. So it's not about eradicating anxiety for me. Anxiety is a normal part of the human and animal experience. But how can we be resilient and flexible and fluid within that? Thanks for that one. And we'll just, if you can come back to Cynthia's one for the human factor after this one, please, Kindy. Oh, we're going to go that one first. Cynthia says, I think this is getting into the human factor, which I'm very interested in exploring, the issue of wanting to control the dog in stressful times and how our dogs mirror us. Yes, anytime you got an anxious dog, and I work with a lot of clients, if they've got a reactive dog, when they see another dog coming, they're like, oh, there's another dog coming, oh my God, what are we going to do? And their dog goes, oh my God, my humans are really stressed, there must be something to worry about. So the more that you, the human, can do self-care and meditation and relaxation and heal and resolve your own traumas and anxieties, the more you're going to be able to, the more you're going to be able to help your anxious dog, for sure. We got Kim. That's a good question. And for all of you who are out there, perhaps lurking in the corners and listening and haven't asked a question, please do pop in the chat and ask your question now. It's we've got another a little bit more than 10 minutes. I'd love to answer your questions. Kim Newman says, my 14-year-old dog tested positive for Cushing's days after losing her companion. Is a false positive possible due to stress? ACTH stimulation test. No typical symptoms. I suppose it's possible. I mean, you could definitely repeat the test a month or two down the track when that stressor is not active and see if there's a different thing. Sometimes you can get, with diagnostic testing, there might be biochemical changes in the animal before you get overt outward symptoms that you can see. So that is another thing to consider, is that, you know, maybe under the surface you've got your Cushing's thing going on, but it just hasn't outpictured into symptoms yet. But yes, stress can affect some of these things for sure. Okay, we have run out of questions, so we need you out there, please, to ask another question for me so I can answer it for you. Oh, where am I? Still no more questions. Yeah, so I think resilience, emotional, mental, physiological resilience is a really important thing to support and work towards with anxious dogs. And April's 9/11 has just said raising the dog's tolerance to life is what's important, so they can go back to their regular shake it off level, or what I call the green zone. So, what we want to do is do everything we can to help our dogs get to a point where they're in the green zone, nice, healthy relaxation, and they're going really well, and then big scary thing happens. Oh my God, scary thing. But you want them within a matter of, as long as there's not a clear and present danger, when it's actually healthy and appropriate to stay anxious while there's a clear and present danger. But when there's no danger and the stimulus has passed, that dog should, within a matter of minutes, be able to come back into the green zone and be resilient. Barb says, I've seen extremely obedient dogs that have no coping skills. Well-intentioned humans, but yes, and I see a lot of dogs that compete in things like agility that are way over here, way over in hot orange, maybe not in red zone because they can still actually, do the course, but they're in a state of unhealthy overexcitement, which is stimulated and caused by the humans. And these dogs are not grounded or calm at all. They are absolutely crazy. Their pupils are like pinwheels, and they're like not so manic, crazy, over the top. And personally, the calmer and more grounded a dog is, the better it's going to run. When you do, I believe, the better they're going to run. Patty says, with so many supplements and vitamins on the market, how do you know what to give your dog to also help them with a good gut, which is part of a healthy lifestyle? I feed my dog a raw diet. And Cynthia also saying, do you recommend any supplements? I tried a protocol for leaky gut, but what are your thoughts on this? It's first thing is diet. First thing that's going to help your gut is a healthy whole foods diet. Preferably raw, but cooked is a very close second best. If you're feeding healthy food, you're going to have a healthier gut. Probiotics and prebiotics can be really helpful. Supplements like clay, internal clays, can be good for the gut. Fecal transplants can be incredibly helpful, and I have been using fecal transplants to help anxious and itchy dogs and dogs with gut issues over the last year, and seen some spectacular improvements. So that is something else that you can consider. Giving your dog a fecal transplant can be very, very helpful to I'll pop a link in where you can find that. I'll pop it in a second in the comments. And there's a discount code you can use to get a bit of a discount, but that is the most powerful way that I have available to reset and help gut health and the microbiome. But there's a whole stack of probiotics. I really like, what's his name? I can see his face, can't remember his name. I'll see if I can remember it. But there's a beautiful Canadian vet who has a beautiful range of see if I can find it. I can't remember his name. I see him on Facebook all the time. He's a friend of mine, and I'm just having a mental blank on that, but it'll probably come back to me in a minute. And I will be able to help you with that then. So all those things are good. And also, the more you make your dog calm and relaxed, the healthier their gut will be as well. Another question there, is it true that overjoy in some dogs is actually hidden fear, anxiety? So overjoy I would maybe call overexcitement. And absolutely, I consider there to be 4 phases of anxiety in dogs. We have the fight, the ones that attack the thing that want to try and make it go away. The reactive, lunging, barking dogs. There's the flee, the runaway ones that are trying to get away from the scary thing. There's the freeze. They're the ones that shut down and go still and kind of stiff and rigid. And then you have the fidget. And the fidget phase of anxiety is that when someone comes to visit, the dog goes crazy and will not listen and will not jumps all over people and goes absolutely crazy and nutso. And I see that as a phase of anxiety. Cynthia says, do you know any studies on the connection between gut health and anxiety? I know that there's quite a body of research about this, but I can't name any particular ones. Katrina says, are vets starting to accept neurodiversity in dogs? At an industry level, I'd say probably not, but I certainly believe that we have dogs that are neurospicy and that have similar kinds of neurotypes to humans that are ADHD or autistic or whatever. So personally, I'm across that, but Peter DeBias, thank you, Barb. So Peter DeBias's supplements are some of the best supplements you can get for your dogs for gut health and for overall well-being. Do feed all transplants help with dogs with malabsorption? I'm not totally familiar with that. Let me have a quick little look online. So I'm not familiar with feed all transplants. I'd need a link or something to have a look at. And nothing comes up when I have a quick Google on that, so I can't really help you with that one. But yeah, the Legacy Biome fecal transplant capsules are amazing. If you're in Australia, it's technically illegal to order them into Australia, but I'm pretty sure that they're fine for you to have in USA, Canada, UK, all those places. And certainly I highly recommend them. They're very high quality, and I've had some spectacular results with them. Okay, so we're going to wrap this up for today. Once again, if you would like to go further and get down and dirty and hands-on with making a difference for your anxious dogs or preventing anxiety in dogs that you want to make sure that you don't get anxiety, there are a few ways that you can do that. One is that you can come along and enroll in the course, a course all about healing dog anxiety holistically, in which I help you work out how to create and implement a holistic anxiety pet treatment plan. And you can also, and Kindy will pop that link in the chat again too, I think. And there's also my book, Find and Heal Your Pet's Silent Pain. In that book, I do teach you how to do relaxing touch. And you can also work one-on-one with me. You can go to healingvet.com to learn more about my holistic veterinary services. And you can book a call, a kind of free meet and greet discovery call for that. Or if you want to learn more of the whole energy body balance method, you can also book. There's a link there in the chat. But that chat will disappear in about 3 minutes when we shut down today's Q&A. Hope to see you back tomorrow. Tomorrow, day 3, is all about dog training and socialization, behavior modification approaches. You have Dr. Ian Dunbar, fear periods in puppies and development stages. Really, really good talk, that one. Jody Anderson, why aversives make anxiety worse in dogs and can cause anxiety. Kamal Fernandez talks about positive reinforcement and behavior modification. And Ness Jones talks about decoding separation anxiety. So a lot of really good talks tomorrow. I am very excited to be back with you all tomorrow again. Until then, have a lovely day. Give your pets a pat from me. And I will look forward to seeing you all tomorrow and answering all of your questions.